I'm Elizabeth Salidon, Communication Specialist with the San Juan Unified School District, and today we're at Mira Loma High School at the new Science Building. Now this is where we're going to show you a little tour of what it looks like, and we have a few guests to kind of give us a view, including Ken B here. He'll start us off by showing us some of the different buildings. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. So I guess first we should take a look at this flex space here, which is honestly one of my first impressions here is about how cool this flex space is. Normally we hold meetings in our F3 building, which is kind of circular. It's kind of like a lecture hall in that sense. But here it's a lot more open, a lot easier to pay attention to the speaker. You're a lot closer, and it just makes big meetings about things like IB a lot more intuitive. Because we tend to have meetings like that a lot, that would make it so much easier for us to do these sorts of things easily and effectively.
Let's head down the hall.
I guess so.
There's a biology classroom over here.
Yeah. And one thing to pay attention to, at least in this section, is the electromagnetic spectrum kind of graph here. Now, buildings aren't just about their functionality. I mean, form is also important. So if we take into account this sort of thing, which is actually proportional in the sense that the different wavelengths are in a correct ratio to each other as you would observe them with scientific equipment. Obviously, they're microscopic, but in this case, the proportions are still the same. So being in a building, not just going here for a science classroom, but being immersed in the science just as you're walking around, could foster a much better sense of mind when you're in here.
Here's one of the physics classrooms.
Yeah, this is a much better chance to get a look inside the classrooms and see how open and spacious they are. They each have a different kind of color theme to them, as you'll see on the floor and on the back wall. And the chairs and desks are arranged in such a way, at least currently, so that it'd make teaching very easy. The room's quite spacious, and the white and kind of bluish coloring would make it very easy to pay attention, because when it comes to things like darker, more muted colors, I find it a lot easier to lose focus on the teacher and what's going on. But with these more sharp, defined features in the classroom, paying attention to the teachers would be much easier.
And I know you've already taken a chance to look at the building. We've gone through two of the classrooms in the flex space. Is there a particular space, either downstairs or upstairs, that you'd really want to show us?
I think that the areas where you can just hang out upstairs, I find those pretty interesting. I haven't really seen them in other sorts of school-related settings.
Let's go check it out then.
All right, wonderful.
Yes, this building does have 2 stories, and this is where all students will be coming into classes for their science classes. So how would you feel coming back, hopefully at some point when we can come back to taking your science classes here?
Honestly, throughout the whole last year taking chemistry, I've been hearing a lot about this building. It's been hyped up a lot, and genuinely, this meets and exceeds all of my expectations. I can understand why Mr. Hill was so excited for this, if this is how it was going to be. I'm certain he had more insights on the project than I did, and it's honestly really nice to be here showing it off for the first time. Not per se the first, but at least an early look at the science building. I've been so excited for this, and these spaces I think would also be pretty cool. Because when it comes to studying at lunch, most people find themselves out in the quad or trying to just sit down in the halls in our main building. And that tends to be pretty uncomfortable, especially when you're trying to get actual real work done. So here, these spaces, if we're allowed in here at lunch, which I assume we are, that's a policy for someone else other than I to decide. I would probably want to go here whenever I need to study, because there's just it's a very good environment for studying. It's got the clean, clinical look. You can easily pay attention. You've got boards up here to
I just noticed the boards over here. Boards that you can mark on, and there are magnets to help with that study process. So you really get that kind of college lecture. You all sit down, can work on a board together. So that is, especially with science, that's something you could definitely use.
Yeah, especially one of our projects, World's Fair, that we had to do for the MYP program. I would definitely get my group in here, and we'd have a good space to focus and plan. We could put stuff up. We found ourselves congregating in a certain classroom, and that was bad because people would often come in there for lunch and interrupt us for many reasons.
And can you tell us a little bit about how you feel about this building?
I think it's great. I'm really excited for the science teachers to be able to teach their full classes here when it's safe for the kids to come back. So much more space for the experiments to be done safely, and just for the students to spread out and be able to work in groups. It'll be really nice. Yeah, particularly like the outdoor space. We're right here.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure Kenneth will talk about that in a second.
Ooh,
too.
yes. Outdoor space. Honestly, having an open air space where the air is not full of smoke is often quite important, because I usually find myself trying to get as much time outdoors as possible. Maybe soak in whatever sun would be able to make it in here. It's good because it's not directly in the sun. The sun is often quite harsh here. But being out in the air, especially when the weather's nice, would be certainly amazing, and it'd be good to help me focus as well as those sorts of things. Focus is kind of key with this building. I find it very easy to focus inside of there.
And here we've made our way outside so you can see that portion of it.
Imagine a morning class out here. It's still shaded, it's not the afternoon sun, the full class can be out here, the teacher can be lecturing, we can enjoy the outside while they're out here. It's just great.
I
This is
personally,
beautiful space.
as a student, would love that.
Yeah.
I wish teachers would do that. And I hope they do with this new outdoor learning setup.
And is there any other area of this building that you were really interested or want to make sure our viewers get to see?
I'd like to go inside one of the chemistry classrooms and see that.
Let's head over there.
All right.
And tell us a little bit about this classroom, why you wanted to show it off.
Well, because in the old building, there was only seating for 36 students combined at the lab stations and the seating. In this space, you can have all your students seated at their desks or all students at the lab spaces. It's just huge in comparison. And everything is bright and open. The cabinets, the kids know exactly what they're going for. There's no wasting time looking for items. The lab spaces are larger, the sinks at the end. It's a great space.
And have any of your teachers gotten a chance to preview these, even if pictured?
Yeah, Mr. Hill, whose classroom we're in, was an integral part of the design of the classroom. He met with the designers and the builders frequently throughout the entire process. And when there were things that he felt were not going to be successful in the room, he really showed them why, and changes were made on his advice, which is just great. And he's going to be really pleased to be in here. Can't wait.
I was going to say, what does he think of the finished product?
He loves it. Yeah, it was a labor of love getting everything from the old building over here. It took weeks, but he can't wait for kids to come back so he can teach.
What about in terms of kids? I mean, every student will come through here, right?
Yes, every student at Mira Loma, well, in the San Juan district, is now required to take 3 years of science for graduation. This is now our only science area on campus, so all students will have 3 years in this building.
Awesome.
And is there anything either of you guys would like to add to our presentations to our students? I know they don't get a chance to see this in person right now, but that they get to see or would like to add for them to know about this?
Well, from a administrative side, we've had 8 to 9 traveling teachers every single year since I've been at Mira Loma here. So the addition of this building allows every single teacher to have their own classroom. And that's a huge thing for our school. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah. If I hear correctly, it'd be the language teachers that would be going into the old science classrooms?
Correct,
Yeah, that would make things a lot easier, because when it comes to either traveling English or language teachers, I find that it often kind of clutters at least the classroom and makes things a bit harder. It doesn't really get in our way, but it's obviously noticeable. So with that addition, since every teacher would be able to have their own classroom, our educational experience would just be that much better.
Absolutely.
And any final message to our parents and students watching for new building, new school year, hopefully a year where everyone gets to be in this building?
Fingers crossed. Let's hope that there will be a time this year when it'll be safe for everybody to be back.
All right, perfect. And thank you so much for joining us.